Welcome to the Héloïse Haenel show in association with transnights.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first stream on the Trans Night TV YouTube page. My name is Héloïse Haenel, and I'm so excited. This is going to be my first stream, and I'm so glad to welcome everyone here. And just to introduce myself, again, my name is Héloïse. I am a senior relationship and dating coach and also a trans girl. And in this place, we're going to be talking a lot about, well, dating advice, relationship advice, personal, health advice, and just kind of creating a safe space to learn about and connect with the queer dating world. In here, I will be answering questions and, just getting to know people. Yeah. And later on in the streams, we're going to have guests and more segments and different things. And I'm just very excited. This is my first one. I'm a little bit nervous, so go easy on me. But yeah, let's just try to have some fun. But yeah, so I will be here hopefully twice a month, and I'm gonna be hopefully going here weekly too, doing some live streams. What you can do is, well, follow Trans Nights Insta on Instagram so you can catch the new streams and all the updates about the website, and also subscribe to the YouTube page so that if you're not able to catch me live, you can watch the video later when it's uploaded. I'll always make sure to read the comments and reply as much as I can in the next stream. Hey there. Welcome everyone. So happy to see everyone coming in and joining. And yeah, feel free to ask a question, say hi, and just interact. This is a really fun, safe space for everyone to just connect, learn, and have some fun. Cool. So what I had done actually is, before my first stream, I made a post on my social media for people to ask me questions about dating or personal questions or just absolutely anything. I told them, ask me anything and I'll answer it. I'll give my perspective as a relationship and personal coach, but also as a trans girl. And I'm so excited. Hopefully we'll learn a lot of things together. And yeah, again, you can ask me questions next time. And here we are with the first question, which is very interesting, which is, who was your first kiss? My first kiss was from a Tinder date. And so were my next few first kisses. And it was a girl named Nomi. So there it is. Whoever asked that lovely question, there's your answer. Yeah. Are you single? Hello there, welcome. Yes, I'm single. I am very keen and open to dating and meeting a lot of people. I love to get to know people and yeah, just connect with people and see how far it goes. But yeah, am I single? DM me and find out. DM me on Héloïse Healer on Instagram. What is my type? My type of person is someone that is very kind, someone that is very safe and understanding. I really appreciate someone who can, connect with me, not just as a trans person, but as a person. So being someone who's trans, it's really important for me to know that someone respects me and validates my identity, but also is really fun. So I like people who are not just safe, but also very curious. So asking good questions, being playful, being authentic to themselves, that's always super attractive. Is you're not trying to be attractive, you're not trying to be anyone else, you're just trying to connect and have as much fun with me and connect as much as possible. And yeah, someone who is also taking care of themselves as much as they can, meaning like mentally, physically, emotionally, for someone who can communicate how they feel and what they want to do or are interested in. That's the one that I really like. And if that's you, again, DM me on Instagram at Héloïse. What is my favorite food? Right now I just had a lot of Japanese food. Tempura is really good. Miso soup is really good. But my absolute favorite cuisine is Indian food because it's really great flavor. And yeah, if I ever go on a first date, if you're ever gonna take me out to one, I would say let's go to Japanese food for dinner. It's always a lot more fun in the evenings because it's a really good way to show your fun side. Going out for dinners and maybe if it goes well, having drinks later. But yeah, there are some tips. How do you create a safe space when dating somebody new? This is a really good question. I talk a lot about the importance of creating a safe space, especially if you're dating a queer or trans person. Um, Before any attraction can happen for me, actually, is I need to know, are you safe? Are you a murderer? Probably not, but if then, are you going to listen to my feelings? Are you going to be, or like open to speaking about your feelings? So safety really comes in a lot of different ways. It's not just physical safety in a way that, hey, I'm going to protect you if you get hurt. That's one part. That's a very basic part of safety, which is also helpful because I am tiny. Um, but emotional safety means that like if you're if I have an emotion, like I'm feeling sad or angry, you're not gonna say, oh, you can't have that or don't do that. You're kind of just like, well, let's talk about it. And yeah, also understanding queer trans identity. So knowing a lot about like things like dysphoria or, yeah, just trans identity so that you are actually an ally, right? If you're someone who is not trans or queer self, somebody who knows how to respect someone's pronouns or what are the things to avoid. Thank you, Matt. And what are the things that you can say to affirm someone, right? Calling someone who is like for me, I really value when someone can affirm my identity as a trans woman. So sometimes like calling me beautiful or saying that I look good, knowing that I'm kind of trying new things and experimenting, that is super hot. Actually, like it's not even about like a sexual kind of attraction. It's a very um, well, it is very sexy if someone can compliment and mean it, but also be authentic. Um, yeah, these are great questions. How big of a nerd are you? 1 to 10? Um, I'd say an 8 or a 9. If a nerd is someone who likes academic things and like learning and also geeky things like sci-fi and Star Wars, I would say an 8 to 9 because I still do actually just came from a soccer game, so that's not very nerdy, but I do read a lot of books. I also love community TV show. I love Star Wars. Um, but yeah, some date ideas again. Going to watch a movie together. How do you respectfully talk to a trans person about their transition during a date? So this is a really great question, right? You might be dating someone who is trans, and how do you breach this topic, especially like on a first date if you're talking to them? Because it's kind of a big thing, right? But there are some really important things to know about this. You want to, well, ask for permission first before anything else, especially with a transition. Um, what you want to say is like, hey, I'm actually quite curious about your transition. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions about that? And if they say no, of course, just respect it. In time, maybe they'll feel safe enough to open up to you, or tell you about it just by themselves. I think like when I get comfortable enough with someone, I would be totally open to um, opening up about my history. Right? It's just like with yourself. If you are getting to know someone, you won't go right into like your childhood or you know all your trauma in the first date. So yeah, take some time to be familiar, be nice, be safe, and then in time they might be more likely to open up about it. But if you want to be the one to breach the topic first, just ask permission. Can I do this? Like, can I ask you about this? And then if you're going to ask about like their identity, their history, let them know that like they don't have to answer the questions right away. So kind of just say like, it's okay if you don't answer these questions. Like that's totally fine with me too. That helps them feel a lot safer to actually share it. But yeah, once you have someone's consent, it's really fun to talk about how did I start transitioning? When do I feel most myself in my identity? We think about, like us trans people think a lot about our own identity and ourselves as a person. And I would love to talk about it, but I need to know first that, you know, you're asking about it in a very safe and respectful way. So yeah, good luck. Do you have any advice for safeguarding your mental health whilst dating? Sure, I do. And here it is. Um, mental health during dating is so important because it's just like physical health. If you got broken legs and you're trying to go on a golf date or something, that's not going to go really well. Same with like, right, if you're highly anxious, if you are feeling really awful, if you're not feeling really ready, um, being aware of the things you're dealing with mentally and being willing to communicate that with a person while dating is really important. Like you don't have to be perfect and, not depressed. We all go through things, but the most important thing is just communication of it, right? Because sometimes if we feel really bad, if we feel, really anxious, we might not be our best selves, which we want to be on a date, but having a person, know that this is happening. Oh, thank you. These are great questions. All the people who sent them, I wonder who they were. They're just so wonderful, right? But um, all the people um, that have something going on in their lives doesn't mean that they have to stop dating, right? As long as they feel ready and they know what they're going through, right? If you are kind of sick, like you got a cough, you can still go on a date. You just got to let your person, your partner or date know. Same with mental health stuff, right? If your tendency is to kind of get depressed or disappear for a while, um, you can just let them know, hey, I'm kind of depressed right now. I might disappear for a while, but that has nothing to do with you. And yeah, make sure you go to therapy. Make sure you talk to your friends. Make sure you keep up with your hobbies, right? Don't just fall into your dating scene completely, because mental health is really key to being sexy and hot and attractive. What is the best advice you can give to someone who is new to being transgender? There's a lot of advice, but I can think of some right now. I think the number one biggest thing that was helpful for me in my own transition is having a really great support system. And for me, this comprises of people who help me kind of stay strong with it because it's really hard, right? When you go from one, your birth gender to another gender, it's going to be really weird. Your body's going to be weird. Your emotions are going to be weird, especially if you start on hormones. Um, and it's just going to be so confusing, especially if you're transitioning a lot later on in your life. Um, it's it's a huge change. You're again, if you go onto hormones, you're basically going through puberty again, and it comes with mood swings and also all this stuff. And there's also things like changing your name, um, dating as a trans person, trying to figure that out. And what's really important or really helpful for me is just like having people there of like to help me kind of feel strong and remember why I'm doing it and to feel beautiful in my transition. Sometimes we might get like a lot of other trans girls really get a lot of pressure to start looking as female as possible or things like passing. And that can be very, very tiring. And having people there to just reaffirm you that you look right and that you're awesome and you're doing a great job. And if you're having a bad day to talk to, then it's really helpful. Because transitioning isn't just like a one like 6 month thing. It's something that not only trans people go through for a year, but it's something that most people go through, even cis people go through in their lives. Right? When you grow into an adult, when you grow into a bigger person, yeah, you need a lot of support. And so having that is really good. Any tips for a cis person dating a transgender person for the first time? Sure. My first response is congratulations. Trans people are awesome. And well, some tips is to, well, start with letting them know, hey, this is my first time dating a trans person, right? If you're feeling anxious, if you're afraid of saying the wrong thing, let them know so that they can be aware and they can guide you. Like they can tell you, oh, these are my pronouns, or this is something that you shouldn't say, or this is something that you could say, right? You could call me a girl, you can call me this, but don't call me this. Because it varies so much per person. And yeah, let them know that it's your first time. And people will take it easier on you. Just like hopefully people take it easy on my streams. Here's another question. Can you give an example? Yeah. Oh. Can you give an example of how to approach a trans person regarding the topic of sex? Absolutely. Um, with trans people, our bodies are a big part of our transition, right? We're going to look different. On hormones, our body's going to act different. We're going to feel different. We're going to want different things that we maybe didn't before, right? There's a lot of these other things. And we might have dysphoria, right? Some people who are transitioning, for example, someone who might be transitioning to a girl might feel bad about certain parts of their bodies because it looks too masculine. And this can come up as a problem during sex, right? You might accidentally trigger their dysphoria. You might actually make them feel bad suddenly when you were just trying to be flirty. And if you want to broach this topic, well, if you ever get in that place, congratulations. But also, tread carefully and nicely, right? Don't rush it. You do know if a trans person is new, ask them how they feel about it, right? Always checking in with them, kind of saying like, hey, if you go from kissing to other sexual activities, always checking in with someone and saying like, hey, are you still feeling good? Is it still okay for you? Is there something you'd like me to do more or less? Is there something that you want me to avoid saying, right? Because sometimes referring to specific parts of the body, especially for a transitioning person, can be really painful, right? And some people prefer different terms for their body parts. And it's really helpful to ask, like, hey, how do you prefer this to be called? Or how do you prefer to be called, right? When we're having sex. And yeah, you asking those questions is already making them feel safe. Like, oh, They're not going to say anything that's going to be offensive. They're not going to say something that's going to hurt me or make me feel dysphoric. And yeah, once again you feel a lot safer with someone, you can get a lot sexier, and it's going to flow a lot better, and you're going to be able to connect a lot better. So it's much like dating any other person, really, is that like you establish this sense of like, hey, if something goes wrong, you can tell me. Or if something's really good, you can tell me. But yeah, you got to be aware of terms and words, because that might not be like much of a big deal for like, non-trans people, right? They might not mind being called a girl, a boy, baby girl, or something like that. But it might be a lot more sensitive for someone who's trans and still figuring out their identity, especially like if someone's non-binary and they don't identify as a boy or a girl. Really helpful to ask them like, well, what do you prefer to be called when we're talking? And it doesn't have to be just in sex, but yeah, it's a lot about asking questions. Oh, there you go. Very related. These are great questions. Thank you, everyone. And also, everyone in the chat right now, hello, say hi. Thank you. And if you have any other questions, feel free to jump in or violent reactions and comments. Yeah. Here's another great question that's really related to it. I'm worried I'm causing my partner to have dysphoria or body anxiety. What should I do? This is a great question, because this can happen. So just to define for people who might not know what dysphoria is something that some trans people have. Not all of us have it. You don't have to have it to be trans, but if you have it, for me at least, dysphoria is this feeling of, well, something isn't right, whether it's in my body or how I feel about myself or my voice. But, as a trans person, we are born in the wrong body, in the wrong gender. And whenever we realize that, it can just be mentally painful. It's like a wound being touched, and that can be hit in many different ways. So it could be physically, it could be like, again, through our voice or how we act, right? So for me, it's like if I feel like I'm walking or talking too boyishly, then I start to feel this for like, oh my gosh, people don't see me as a girl. And that's sort of at least my um, experience of body dysmorphia. And yeah, if you're triggering this, right, if you accidentally cause this in another person and you recognize it and they communicate it, letting them know that you recognize it. Like, hey, I noticed that you might be getting hurt. Confirm it. Like, hey, are you actually feeling okay with this? Or um, is there anything that I can do to make you feel better? Right? If you want to avoid certain terms or certain actions, right? Letting them know that you'd like to get it right next time. And yeah, because it's very different for every person. Like some people are okay with their genitals, some people are okay with their bodies. And yeah, it's just about asking again. Oh, this is a great question. I want to be supportive of my partner's transition, but I miss how they were in the past. How do I talk to them about this? This has happened, and this has happened very commonly where you're dating someone and in the middle of the relationship, they actually realize that they might not be the gender that they were born in, or they might want to start transitioning. And that can be quite jarring, right? To suddenly have a boyfriend and then later on you have a girlfriend, right? And it can be jarring to see how they are, how they feel, and how they look, and it's different, right? You suddenly have a new partner, and yeah, it's good to start with just kind of loving the stream. Ash, thank you for joining. But and this is really fun too. I'm really appreciative of everyone who's here. And again, you can catch these later on twice a month or maybe weekly. There might be other girls too. But yeah, something that, oh, here's another question. Oh, wait, no, let's go into the new question. Um, how do I tell my friends and family that I am dating a trans person? Right. So this kind of correlates to the last question and this one. Um, a lot of like when someone transitions in the middle of a relationship, or you find out that someone is trans, um, it's going to be very. It doesn't always happen this way. But it can be very jarring for a lot of people, right? Like I said, people you might be shocked. Your family might be shocked. It's like, didn't you have a boyfriend? Why do you now have a girlfriend? But they're the same person, right? And um, it's a very unique thing to be trans, to switch genders or to identify as another gender. And first thing to do is to acknowledge first how you feel, right? And if you were someone who um, is shocked or is not really sure how to feel about like a trans person, like your partner transitioning, letting them know that you're going to take some time to process it, that you still care for them, you're not going to leave them, because sometimes they might feel like, oh, you're going to leave me because I'm trans now, and that can be really scary. Just letting them know, hey, I'm just going to take some time to process things and think about it. Oh, we have some messages from Max. My parents were too old school to accept my trans girlfriend. Um, they wanted her eventually. Oh, thank goodness. And they ended up loving her. That is the sweetest thing ever. I'm so glad about that. Um, see, there is hope. Yeah, because a lot of people can be too old school. They can be like, what kind of, what's going on here? What do you mean you're a girlfriend now? Right? And it's really jarring for a lot of people. But that's good that they accepted themselves. Right? And I would wonder how they were able to do that. But yeah, a lot of people might not be accepting. And that's when you gotta set a boundary like, hey, I still love this person. And if you don't accept that, that's okay. But this is this is my partner and I love her. I love him, her, them. Um, yeah. Yeah, how do I tell my friends and family that I'm dating a trans person? Um, Slowly. You just kind of tell them, hey, I do have something big to tell you. And you gotta say it for your sake, not to gain their acceptance or anything. Because, yeah, in the end, it's about what makes you happy. And if this person makes you happy, that's what they should be. That's the only thing that should matter, right? And again, just let them know I'm telling you this because I trust you, or I want to be like open with you and welcome you into our like life and relationship. And so you just say, you know what, it's up to you. How do you take it? But I'm gonna like move forward regardless. And then you say, hey, my girlfriend's trans. And then you don't add a lot more. Like they may ask questions of like, what does that mean? Or like, is this and that? But if they ask too many questions that aren't really good, um, they aren't really respectful, you can always set a boundary like, okay, we don't have to answer all of these things. I just wanted to let you know this part and just stick with that. Water break. Thanks to everyone for coming, by the way. This is a really cool space to share with all of you. Yeah. Okay. So I think we might have ended up finishing all of the questions. And I'm so grateful for everyone who asked the questions today. These were so good. And if you have any more, right, if I didn't answer them well, and if I didn't clarify them or you wanted to ask more, you can subscribe to Trans Night. Thank you I'm so glad to give you advice, Ash, and everyone else in the chat. Thank you for showing up and helping make the stream. I was really nervous about it, but I'm very pleased with how it's gone so far. Isn't it so cute? Um, it gets a lot more fun and cute later on as we kind of build an idea of what we want to do in the streams. But yeah, this is a really cool time and a really cool place. Thank you. And I hope that if anyone has any more questions, I will be able to answer them on later streams, right? If people have comments or things and I don't get to see them, I will try to take a look at them later and either reply in the comments or reply live on the stream, right? So you might see your question live in this stream and I'll answer everything. And I mean everything. Cool. Max also says thank you. Yeah. Thank you as well for coming by and supporting our website and also this amazing queer safe space we have here. So we're halfway through our stream and I do have another segment planned, which is some advice that I wanted to share with people about creating the best profile that you can on a dating app. So talking about like what kind of photos to put up, what to do for your bio, what are some things that you can really avoid in terms of like dating app etiquette or date etiquette. But we're going to be focused a lot on online dating profiles and how to make the best ones. Because I have some pretty good ones, and we're going to take a look at mine today on the stream. And I'm going to be showing you my profile on the transnights.com website, and it is where you can sign up. You're going to find me there and a lot of other amazing people. It's a great app for queer and trans people and also cis people to connect. There's going to be new updates too. We're going to have forums soon in the website. I'm really excited for that, to connect with and talk to other people. Verified photos to make sure that everyone there is who they are, and to make sure that that's not Brad Pitt on the website for sure. You want to be fooled by that again. But yeah, so let's take a look at my dating profile. And I'm going to be talking about like what are the elements of a good dating profile. And if you have questions, feel free to send them in the chat or send them on the Transnights Insta for the next stream. Cool. And yeah, this is my actual profile. This is a great website actually. So here it is. And here is a beautiful girl. It looks a lot like me. That's me. All right. And so you can see here, I have my age and my details where I'm at, what I'm looking for. And you can see I'm just kind of open for anything. And that's true. I love making connections in whatever way that I can. And right away, as my profile pic, what I have is a very businessy, thank you, Max. It's a very businessy, straightforward profile. What you want to show with your starting profile is just a good smile and your face. And if you can, or if you want to, a good frame of your upper body or your whole body. Just kind of a first impression. Doesn't have to be too much, right? Because people will be scrolling from one profile to another, just like you want something that catches the attention, but it isn't too much process. And yeah, here it is. It's me smiling, and I just did my hair. And that's a good first photo. And let me actually go into the other photos that I have on my dating profile. And let me show you kind of like what are some good things to have on your dating profile. Great friendly smile. Thank you. I appreciate that. See, a great friendly smile. Wouldn't you want to come up and say hi? And that's sort of the point of that. Is like, oh, there's someone that looks nice. It doesn't even have to be like, oh, you don't have to be like super. I have to look super beautiful, gorgeous, or like if you're a guy, handsome and hot. It just has to be friendly. Like if you're gonna approach someone on the street or in the, at the bar, they don't have to be super hot. They just have to be like, oh, they're not gonna kill me. They're gonna be really nice, or they look like they would. And that's the that's a good first photo to have. So you want to avoid um, gym selfies. You want to avoid just like a normal um, phone selfie, especially at a bad angle. It's okay to use kind of just like a selfie phone, but make sure that it's, a good lighting. It's a good smile. Honestly, smile is so underrated. Smile with your eyes, right? Instead of just like, like this, kind of like with your eyes, like you really mean it. People can tell. And yeah, if you have a good smile on there, people are gonna be drawn to you, or at least like interested in saying hi, right? Because who doesn't love a good smile? Who doesn't love someone who is looking like they're not gonna be mean? Yeah. So here's my other photos, and I have a lot on here, which is one of the cool things about Transnight's Insights. Transnight's the dating website is like it allows you to have a lot of profile photos rather than just like six, which some other apps might have. Um, yeah, here's the main one. I put this as my profile photo because it's just pretty straightforward. It's me doing that. Well rehearsed photo. But on my second photo is, well, it's a very similar smile again, but it's me introducing my show here, and I put it on as second photo because it shows kind of things that I do. I have this show. I like to talk, just in general, but also in public. So it kind of tells you what kind of person I am. So in relation to my jobs and hobbies, having Ash says the variety. I know what a multi-talented woman. What a what a complex human being. Yeah, it's sort of the point, right? It's like, oh, I'm not just like one facet, right? There are hobbies, there are sports, there are music, and you are definitely not just one type of person. We're not just one dimensional. There's beautiful aspects of you, and you want to show all the different ones because that's what people connect with. So yeah, here's a photo of me, um, kind of showing what my profession is and what I like to do creatively. Here's a picture of me also on a vacation, playing music, and playing music on a vacation. Again, with a smile. You can see how much I'm leaning into the smile because I know how welcoming it is. But don't worry, I have some frowns later on to balance it out. But yeah, I have a photo of me on vacation playing guitar because that's something that I also do. So it lets people know, oh, she can do things with her hands musically. And um, there's different aspects to her, and that's interesting, right? And someone who likes music too, or plays guitar too, will be able to connect with me. So there you go. And here's another photo. It's me with my short hair after a championship game. So it lets people know, hey, I'm moving around. How much um, athleticism, how much like competitiveness I have as a person. So Max says, what kind of music do you play? Oh, see, I got someone interested. Just kidding. Thank you for asking. I really like folk music, and I love a lot of. I'm really into a lot of classic rock, alternative rock. So like I'm doing some Nirvana covers, but also some feminist punk music. But yeah, folk music is really cool. Bob Dylan. I play some of those, but I've been writing some of my own music. I've been inspired lately by someone to write a song. So, but I was also folksy. Okay, thank you. Cool. Thank you for asking. But yeah, see, there's me playing soccer. I like to play soccer, so it lets people know that I do that, but also how much I like to go outside. So having these photos of you doing things outside of your house lets people know like what you're gonna be doing or like what you're gonna be like when we date. Like, are you gonna take me to a soccer game? Are you gonna play music with me? So yeah, X says, well, we will have to. I know. Maybe I will do that. That'll be cool. If people want to hear me play, put in a song suggestion. I learn it, and I will play my heart out for free, live on the Trans Nights YouTube page. So let me go a little bit quicker here. Here's a photo I just think I feel really pretty in. It's my natural hair, shorter, I have curly hair, and yeah, I do like fashion and makeup, so this is sort of what I'm showing is, well, I like to look pretty, and I like to do my hair. Yeah. So let me skim through some other ones. Something that I actually want to go back on that is really important if you have a dating profile is to put a photo of you with other people having fun, and can be a group photo, one of you smiling in it or looking happy, and this lets people know I'm not a murderer. People like me, and I am likable, and that's very valuable for if you're going to meet someone online, right? Because the thing with online is it can be very like suspicious or strange. It's a stranger, right? You don't know the person there, and having them see you with another person and they're having fun and they're not afraid of you is actually really valuable. So you don't want to just put photos of you, um, yeah, just you. If then it's, are you a murderer or not? But yeah, like actually, as a trans girl or as a queer person, safety is really important, and just to know again that you are someone who gets along with people is really helpful. Yeah, let's go through a few more photos. But yeah, y'all can see my profile on transnights.com. I am actually on there, and you can find me and see the rest of the photos. What else is on there? Just me smiling. There's me at the clouds, but yeah. Make sure to just avoid selfies, bathroom selfies, gym selfies, avoid photos that aren't you. Of course, the verification process is going to be added on the Transnights website. It's going to be really helpful for that. But really focus on showing the type of person that you're like, right? So if you are musical, if you're kind of dorky, if you're kind of sporty, have those photos in. Or if you're all those things, have all those photos in, which I try to do here. So people can kind of see like the multifaceted person you are, and that's what people are interested in. They're like, oh my gosh, you play music? You also do this? I'd love to get to know you. And if you're not really into a lot of things, but you kind of like, I love these shows, I love these books, I love these movies, put all of them in there so that they can see, oh my gosh, I like those too, right? Because someone will connect with you, and what you want to have is someone who, well, connects with you. And if you just have gym selfies or like just photos of you, people don't really know what you're like. They're gonna kind of be like, oh, what do I talk about with them? How do I connect with them if it's just like them in the gym or them in the bathroom, right? You might look cute in it, but you gotta also give people things to work with, right? The importance of photos is to let people know the type of person you are, but also to let them know like what to talk about. And we have a message here. I like how I look in a body machine, which is difficult. Yeah, this can happen. And I totally relate to that. Sometimes I feel really awful about how I look and how my body is, and photos might not be the best way to show um, your personality, which is really, related to the next part, right? So if you don't really like photos, if you don't really feel good about them, make sure you put it in your bio. Just kind of people might wonder, hey, where are your photos? Um, just let them know, hey, maybe I don't feel as comfortable, and your personality can shine a lot better through text, right, or in the dating profile bio. So yeah, but also yeah, you don't have to have photos if you're not comfortable with that. You can just find someone who's okay with that, and you can just let them know. But yeah, this really connects with the next part. True, thanks. No problem. But yeah, it's really it's really about just being yourself as much as you can. And if you're not really feeling yourself physically or visually, there's so many other parts to us, right? We have to just show all of the ones that we're comfortable showing with their highlighting, right? You want to be really communicative. The show's really informative. Thank you, Ash. It is. I'm so glad to have this space with all of you and talk about these things. And thank you for these questions. These are so fun to answer, but also I hope y'all try it. Um, y'all are gonna do great if you put it on and you use it. Let me know how it goes. If you try some of these tips and they don't go really well, let me know, and maybe I can get some more specific advice for you. Like what might work for me or another person might not work for another. Um, I'm learning a lot. That's great. Thank you for letting me know. I'm really glad actually to be able to educate and share with y'all. Um, Even the interesting questions at the start. But yeah, like we said, if our photos aren't our most me part of us, we can show our personality through our bio. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, kind of to show my profile. And a good bio is one that is 2 to 3 paragraphs long. So this is the ideal length because the attention span of people, especially now in 2022. Yeah, it is 2022. The average attention span is a lot shorter. And when people used to have classified ads and like old, dating sites or like newspaper ads used to be really long because people just would read those. But now, um, we don't really do that anymore. So you want to have something that's 2 to 3 paragraphs because one sentence or one paragraph is too short. It probably won't tell a lot about you, and people will just kind of be skipping you or not really interested to ask more if it's just like, oh, that's like just 2 sentences. So here is a my profile. Here is my dating profile bio, right? And I'm just gonna read it out loud. Here is I'm a senior relationship and life coach, LGBTQ plus and mental health activist, and trans lesbian footballer. And there are my emojis that shows that I'm an Aquarius and I'm trans and queer. And yeah, it says, yeah, my attention span is much shorter than it used to be. Sometimes it's a problem for me. Same, but thank you for sticking this long into the stream. But yeah, I have not read a book or watched a movie in quite a while, which I hope to change. But yeah, because our phones are just so instant, right? We want to look up something, it's there, or we want to watch something, it's there, or we want to be stimulated, it's right there. So, you know, when we have to wait and read a whole thing, our brain's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to read this. Nobody got time for that. Yeah, totally relatable. But I'm going to like, thank you. That's the best way to enjoy the show. get a beer if you're over 18, 21 if you're in the US, or some water. I have some water myself and just sit back and ask questions. I really love questions. I really love any comments. So sometimes it's nice. Um, just say hi and talk to them. Me too. Yes, this is the perfect way to watch a stream. It's just to chill. We're just talking. It's just all of us, and this one was a lot more informative because I am a little bit nervous, so I want to make sure I get a lot of good advice in. But what I'm hoping for maybe is like if people are just kind of chilling on live streams, we could just hang out too, and ask questions or talk, or I might play some music. We don't know. That might happen in the later stream, or I might have a guest who will hang around and just chill with me, and we'll talk too about just their dating lives, and yeah, you can just listen in. It's always really fun and just chat. But anyways, some dating profile bio tips, 2 to 3 paragraphs. Don't forget it. Have the first paragraph just be a basic thing of who are you, and like, so what is your occupation if you have one, what are your hobbies, interests, and yeah, starting with that. So kind of basic thing. Like if you're going to introduce someone at a party, how would how would they introduce you, right? So if they were going to introduce me, they would say, "Oh, she's a coach, she's an activist and footballer," and that helps people remember, right? Oh, I matched with this person; they were a coach, right? And in the second paragraph here, you see me. I have my interests, and just kind of the things that I'm interested in. Right? So it says I'm into yoga, mindfulness, Taoism, and kink. I spend a lot of time exploring feelings, flows, and sensations. Different senses are sound and taste. It kind of tells people that I'm quite a spiritual, strange person, and I love all these things that are, well, these are the most unique to me, right? Because I can say things like, hey, I really love water, or, The Office, or I don't know, any other TV show, but I try to find the things that are most me, but also things that you don't really hear very often, or you know, something that's very, very you. And because you don't want to be just like forgettable, you don't want to just blend in and be part of the dating app crowd, because there's so many people on dating apps nowadays. And what you want to do is like be able to stand out, but still be you. And so, yeah, I put in those things. I love all these things, but they're also not the most common things. Um, and for the third paragraph, you want to be really like empathic to someone who might be swiping on your profile, right? So I'm here suggesting to them like what are some things you can start a conversation with, because that's a really weird thing to like think about. Is like, what do I say, or like what do I talk about with a person in a dating app? And most people just end up going, "Hey, how are you? What are you up to?" And because it's really hard, and you don't get to connect with someone with small talk that much. Sometimes it can go well over that, but if you want to make the most of your dating profile, put something that you love talking about on your profile, something that gets you interested in talking about, and again, is very authentic to you. And that way, they can really connect with you a lot easier. They don't have to say, "Hi, how are you? What's going on?" And you don't have to be bored. You know. So here's my third paragraph: is ask me about how I got stranded on an island because of a volcano eruption, my research paper, sleep paralysis, or for a personal Spotify playlist recommendation. And and we got a message here saying, volcano. Wow, that's true. This is real. I was on a vacation and a nearby volcano had erupted um, for the first time in years. And it didn't. We weren't hit by lava. Okay, it's not as we didn't really die. Thankfully, knock on wood. But yeah, the volcano erupted and there was glass particles in the sky, and we couldn't fly home because, well, apparently, I don't know, the plane would have exploded or something. But yeah, so we had to actually makeshift our own way home. We had to hitchhike. Because it was me and my ex, and yeah, she had to make her flight back um, before these messages. You see, everyone's freaking out. You are literally in the movie Volcano. Is that a movie? Is it literally a movie about a volcano exploding? Because yeah, I'm that girl. But yeah, Max says LOL. See, then this means that my profile is pretty good if people are intrigued by it. But this is real. Yeah, we had to hitchhike on our way home. My ex had to make her flight the same day home. So we were panicking because we had to get home ASAP, and we were on a different island from ours, and yeah, we flew somewhere else, and we almost went in this one taxi cab, but someone pulled us aside and be like, "Don't ride that one because you actually might get kidnapped." And this was like in a tourist place, so those things happen. Um, and it might be a good segment later on to talk about like trans-friendly tourist, vacation spots. It might be something to talk about later on. But yeah, we almost got kidnapped, so we rode in a different car and we made it. We survived. But there you go. So now, right, if I have this on my profile, now I've shared a fun story and you have something to react to and we can talk. Um, but yeah, um, in the last segment here of my profile, what am I interested in? This is a part that transnights.com has, which is like, what are you looking for? And what I put in there is I'm looking to meet someone for Indian food or Korean barbecue after a good chat and build a long-term relationship. And Ash says, well, glad you're all okay. Thank you. I'm glad I made it. Who knew that's how the movie Volcano ended? Is nothing happened. No, it was actually really stressful. But yeah, thankfully we made it. But yeah, what you want to do on your dating profile is have an idea of like, what are you looking for? What are you trying to do with someone on the app? And I put it on there, right? And I might go a little bit more into other things, but I do notice in the last minute and a half of my first stream, that went by so quickly. Did you guys enjoy that? Are there any questions, comments, violent reactions from anyone in the chat? Um, but yeah, just to kind of wrap up is I will be having these. Oh, someone says, I loved it. Thank you. I'm really glad. I was really anxious. I slept early so I could be ready for this, and I felt pretty good about it too. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I felt really good about it. But yeah, you can, if you enjoy these, I have a lot more questions and weird stories. I have a lot of weird stories, but I will answer every question that someone asks. And you can connect with me on Instagram at Héloïse Healer. But you can also make sure to subscribe at Trans Nights Insta on Instagram so that you can catch the next stream. Thank you, Ash. That's really good. Thank you for being here. And yeah, if anyone has questions, send in the spicy one, and I will absolutely answer them live. But thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you the next time.